here's a way to easily tell if something that you're doing is a sin or not. And it's super simple. And well, before I tell you this, I'm gonna need to bring up this example real quick. So Adam and Eve were in the garden, right? They were like this with God, right? They were communicating with him, they were looking up at him, they were fully fixated on him, right? And when the apple came, we don't even know if it's an apple, but whatever. Anyway, so when the fruit came into play, right? They weren't like this anymore, right? They were like this with the fruit. They were looking at the fruit. They weren't fixated on God. They were fixated on the fruit, right? So we can say like anything that makes us not fixated on God, anything that takes our attention off of God is a sin, right? I'll give you a couple examples, right? So video games are not a sin because you can be like this with God, right? And still be playing video games, right? You can be glorifying God playing video games, like, you know what I'm saying? But when you get addicted to video games, you're not like this with God anymore, right? You're not looking up at God. You're looking at the video games, right? You're like this. Like when the apple came into play, Adam and Eve weren't looking like that. They were looking like that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and so here I'm gonna bring up another example. So weed is a sin, and the reason that weed is a sin is because you can't be like this with God, you know, while smoking weed. You are fixated on the weed. The weed makes it fixated on the high or whatever you're getting. I never smoke weed. I don't know. So you can't be fixated with God when you're smoking weed, you know? So that's why it's a sin. So anything that takes our fixation off of God, that's a sin, you know what I'm saying?